Afternoon. Well, as you might have guessed, this is a pickups video. And I've mentioned a couple of times in my previous few pickups videos. I'm going to try and keep them short. And to be honest, I did give it a proper good go, but circumstances have. Excuse me, I was just distracted out the window. Circumstances have conspired against me, and looking at what I've got here, I think it's going to be another long one. Back to the. I'm keeping it old school. I don't know what number this is. I think it's. I don't know why I ever started numbering my pickups videos. Just did. It seems like something you did back in the day, but. No, I've had a go at this particular one, and I had 3 goes back when it was boiling. It's not so boiling now. It's Sunday. I don't know what date it is. I don't know. About a week after. That's Brewster's Millions, by the way. You can't even see it. It's really annoying, but that's Brewster's Millions. Yeah, I had 3 goes at making this video back when it was boiling hot. I thought, oh no, it's boiling hot. I'll take advantage of that. I'll go and do a pickups video down the park. I've not got much stuff. I don't have much to carry. I'll just take my little GoPro with me. But I never really considered the practicalities and the logistics involved in doing something. First of all, went down. There's a big sort of country park at the top. I was going to go in there, and it is open to the public. It was open to the public, but there just happened to be sort of in like half the park, like an actual music festival going on. Not just like a little shitty sort of a DJ and a bandstand type music festival. This was a proper like music festival, and I could have gone in there. There's sort of like quite a big section of the park, you know, but I didn't fancy like loads of gurning, pilled up ravers sort of bopping around in the background, harshing my buzz, or you know what I mean, yeah. So I'll put a kibosh on that, and I went to my other local park, and yeah, I actually had a go, but then when you sit down and do it, I had to find somewhere to put the camera, where to point the camera, sort of where to sit, and it just suddenly it sort of dawns on you, this is ridiculous, this is impractical. I can't be asked to take. It'd make a lot of difference if I had my tripod with me, but fuck that. I'm not taking my tripod down the park. So I had a go, and it was a bit embarrassing, a bit awkward. And you always think that someone's going to pop around the corner and go, "What the fuck are you doing, mush?" So yeah, I've recorded it, but it pretty much boiled down to me like prattling around in the park. I even went down there. I dug out my old England 1990 football shorts. I've got a pair, just for a laugh. I thought it'd be funny, and because it was hot, I haven't really got a proper hat, so I thought I'll wear a t-shirt on my head and some glasses, and yeah, essentially it just boiled down to me prattling about in the park. So it's a bit embarrassing, a bit of a car crash. So I thought, no, that's rubbish. I scrapped that idea. It's still around. I might. No, there's no point. It's just it's a bit embarrassing. So I thought I'll have another go. And I'll do it in my back garden, sort of compromise, because it seems a shame to sit inside and make a pickups video when it's boiling hot outside. So I've got my GoPro sat in my back garden, and I didn't realise, I forgot about I didn't sort of forget, but I forgot about how wide the wide angle lens was and how much it gets in shot. It's a tiny little lens. You don't think it would get that much in, but it did. And I this time I had my tripod. I was just sitting on the grass, and I wanted something to sit on, because my lawn has shitloads of ants' nests all over it. If I sat directly on it, I would have been like bitten on my arse within like 10 seconds. So I thought I'd sit on a little stool, and the way I was sitting, it was sort of like the way I was sitting, and pretty much my crotch was on show for the whole 25 minutes. Not fully on show. I wasn't naked below the waist, but it was just sort of like distracting. It's not something you needed to see. So I had another go at that, and then I was sort of like sat really awkwardly to sort of like to the side, and basically the camera was basically pointed at some mud in my garden. So for the whole, again, for another 25-minute video. So basically I just scrapped good, what was that? What's 3 times 25? 70, an hour and a quarter of quality video. There's some good bants in there as well. But hopefully we'll have some good bants this time. Probably not. I wish you could see Brewster's Millions. That's the thing. It's just the way it works. Just you wouldn't even see it if I turned the telly around. Annoying. So yeah, so since then, that was back when I had a relatively little pile of stuff, and it was easy. I could do a nice little brief pickups video. You know, I wouldn't have to haul it down the park. But I've had a decent day recently. It was one of them days when you go, oh yeah, shit. Everything seemed to work out on just a little. I was out on a mooch, and it sort of, my little pile was sort of doubled. Ain't no longer little. It's no longer a little pile. It's a, yeah. So it makes sense for me to get on with it. It's always a mixture. It's a mixture of films and games, but mostly games. Games will come last, as you're probably used to by now. Excuse me. I've been drinking. I've got a taste for that stuff that they wash your mouth around in the dentist. It's lovely. Put some ice in it. Top job. So I'm not mental. Right, first film. I bought this film because it was sort of I went out and I'd already had this. Pretty much the first place I stopped had a sort of a really pretty good score, bingo, and I was sort of buzzing, and I went into a CEX, and I was still sort of like, yeah, buzzing. And I thought, does anyone get that? If you have a good score, it makes you sort of you want to buy other things as well. Does that make sense? You just go, yeah, what can I buy now? And that's pretty much the mindset I was in. That's probably why I came back with quite a lot of stuff. You know, it was like all these first 4 Blu-rays are all from the same day. And a whole load of games as well, but like I said, they'll come later. Like this Blu-ray, basically, I went into a CEX and I saw a game I sort of had my eye on for years, and it was always more. It was dirt cheap, but always more than I wanted to pay for it. And it was 75p, the game. And I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I get a bit embarrassed if I go to someone like CEX and buy something dirt cheap. I feel a bit of a spendthrift, bit of a cheapskate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I got like that. So I had this 75p game. I was a bit self-conscious. So I thought, I saw this Blu-ray. I thought, yeah, I'll just get that. And it's only £2.50. It's a film called Love. I've actually spoken about it before. A film called Love. Essentially a really low-budget homage to 2001. Really good. You wouldn't know it's low budget because of the quality of the. I don't know what sort of camera they use. It's just really crisp. All of it. There's all these slow motion sections, and the definition of the image is just really stark. It's really, really good. And to be honest, sort of the sets are really well done as well. You wouldn't really guess that they were cheap. And it's basically, yeah, this bloke ends up. He's on a space station on his own, and just at the point where I think there's sort of some sort of apocalyptic events, it might be nuclear war, I don't know, going on Earth, and he can sort of see it down below, and basically sort of left there on his own, and you know, and he finds, I don't know how he finds it, I can't remember. I've seen this. I think last time I saw it, it was sort of like 12:30 on a Saturday night, and I was like, I'm at that age now, I can't stay awake for things like that. I just go, hey. But yeah, he finds sort of an American Civil War diary, and you see all these. He reads it, and there's all these sequences that play out from these diary entrances. But yeah, it's sort of like I said, it's similar, almost like a homage to 2001, and with a score by a bloke from, I don't know what his name is, Tom DeLonge from Blink 182, I think. Tom DeLonge. Yeah, it's good actually. So I'd give that a go. If you're into 2001, you either like it because it's like a homage, or you hate it because it's like a cheap rip-off facsimile. But you know, give it a go. Only £2.50. Right. These two were in a charity shop. They're both £1.50. I could have spent more, but I thought, no, I could go crazy. You know, I'll go crazy. First one, it's the first season of Treme. I think it's pronounced Treme. It's by the same guy who made The Wire, and it's always something I've been interested in. But it's about jazz musicians in New Orleans after Katrina, isn't it? I think. But it's supposed to be really good. And well, The Wire. Don't know what anyone. Doesn't matter what anyone says. It's the best television program ever made. You know, that's undeniable. But so it makes sense. I've always wanted to take a look at this, but yeah. So I thought I'll have that. But the better one, well, it was not better, but you know, sort of that was £1.50. Both £1.50. It's Dunkirk. I thought this is a 2017. It was just from last year, so it's like it's supposed to be really good. Not seen it, and to be honest, the trailers made it look a bit like only in a certain sense, not Pearl Harbor. A bit, lots of explosions. I'm like, oh, he hasn't fucked it up, has he? But it's Christopher Nolan, and you know you can generally rely on what Christopher Nolan does. But yeah, I mean I don't think I've heard a bad word about it, and it was £1.50. And what I'm going to do, I think I'm probably going to watch it soon, and then trade it in because this will get me about £5 in CX. So yeah, and then if I like it, I'll just buy it back some other time when it's cheaper. So yeah, these were both £1.50 in one charity shop. So that was like a bit of a bargain. This was £1 in another charity shop. It's similar to Dunkirk, another recent film. It's called Mother, by Darren Aronofsky, who's got to be honest, I'm not 100% what this film entails. I know it's Jennifer Lawrence, and is it Javier Bardem? Yeah, Javier Bardem, and a husband and wife, and they live in a house, and they get visited by sort of a couple and sort of this new presence in their sort of enclosed lives sends them all a bit weird, sort of a bit loopy, and you know all these changing dynamics and things go a bit strange. I think, you know, like the husband sort of gets sort of undermined, and this couple take over. I don't know, to be honest, if anyone's seen it, but that's what I can remember reading in the reviews, and it's supposed to be really good. And it's Darren Aronofsky. I'm not a massive fan. I've liked some of his stuff. I once watched Requiem for a Dream when I was severely hungover, and that sort of has scarred me for life. If anyone's seen Requiem for a Dream, it's fucking Jesus harsh. It's a harsh watch, put it that way. And there's other things he's made that are not quite so, you know. I'm wondering if this will be more Requiem for a Dream and less, what was it, The Fountain. I don't know. But again, this was only £1, and this would get me some decent credit. So, like with Dunkirk, I'm going to try and watch it and then sort of trade it in. And then if I like them both, I'll get them back when they're cheaper. Like last Blu-ray, this was a Blu-ray. And it was in my local branch CX, and it's a film I wanted for a long time. Ever since I saw it on the telly, it's an old film that was sort of re-released in the cinemas, and got quite a sort of fanfare. It's one of those films that initially was sort of panned and didn't make any money, and there's controversies about that. But then, since then, critics have had a look at it again, and everyone's decided it's actually a masterpiece. Filmed by William Friedkin after The Exorcist and French Connection, he was given free rein to do pretty much whatever he liked, and he made this film called Sorcerer. There you go, Sorcerer. It's so good. I watched this on the telly, and instantly went right into my sort of top 10. One of my favourite films. Apparently it's one of his William Friedkin's. Apparently it's the best film. He thinks it's the best film he's made. Basically, these four criminals who are independently of each other, have all broken the law in whatever way, and they all end up in this same South American country, hiding from the law. And there's sort of there's sort of civil unrest in this country. There are American oil companies with sort of interests, and the locals don't like it. So the locals blow up one of these oil refineries, and there's this big oil fire. And the storyline is that they essentially need to put out this oil fire by blowing up the pipeline. Not sure how that works, but that's what the plan is. And the only explosives they've got are 200 miles away, the other side of a mountain, and they've been stored badly, so they're unstable. And a bit like in actually, it's just suddenly dawned on me, like in Lost, they sort of ripped off that idea. You know, in Lost, when they try to transport some dynamite that's really unstable, and they blow up that bloke. Spoilers. And essentially, that's what Lost ripped off this. Not in a very, very, very small way. And the four men, the four criminals, they all volunteer, and in pairs they drive two trucks. Two, because if it doubles the chance of one getting through, and if one of them blows up, and they get paid well, and they have to drive it over the mountains. And it's one of the tensest films I've ever seen. This sequence on the front, they cross a rope bridge in a storm with a torrential river underneath. I watched it like this. I was also like really tense, and sort of my hands sort of. It was just watch it. It's called Sorcerer. It's elevated. Already a great film, elevated by having a soundtrack by Tangerine Dream. Tangerine Dream, if you don't know them, they're pretty much John Carpenter got his style of music from for all his films. They're the good man's. John Carpenter's essentially the poor man's Tangerine Dream. All sort of synth, sort of electro, sort of synth tunes, and this is such a good film, Sorcerer. This has got a nice alternate cover as well. See, it's got like a. See, that's the main cover that you'll see. That one. If you give it a go, £5 is quite a good price, because I've been waiting for this price to come down, because it was up at about 10, and then it came down to 8, and then 5. And once it went down to 5, I thought, I'm going to pounce. Can't get it back in there. Screw that. Right, that's all my films. DVDs? Films, not one DVD amongst them. Right, two online purchases. This is. Should a bit of a swig of stuff. Two online purchases. First one from CX. When it comes to PS2 games, there's a few I keep an eye out every time I go on CX, and because their prices are good, and if they've got a copy, I generally take a punt. With £1.50 for postage on top. And I've done well with that tactic recently. I've got a couple relatively uncommon games that will go for more on eBay, and they've turned up and they've been complete and really nice nick. And the same happened with this one. It's Firefighter FD18. This cost me £7 plus £1.50 for postage. I think you'll generally pay around about £15, maybe 20, sort of 12 13 on a good day for this. So CEX's price is a bargain. I think since I bought it, I think it's gone up. But essentially, you're just you're a firefighter from Fire Department 18, and yeah, you do all this sort of putting out fires and stuff, bizzo, and it's supposed to be pretty good. I know a certain someone has mentioned it in one of their Hidden Gems videos, but I knew about it before that. Honest, no, I did actually, but it's supposed to be good, and it's pretty uncommon. I don't think there's any available on their website now. I think when I saw it, there was just the one copy, and I sort of jumped in it, and it turned up in really nice nick. But yeah, it's basically you go around putting out fires. But I like the back. These two passages here essentially repeat each other, but one of them says a rich story that revolves around the themes of love and justice. There you go. Which is strange because I would have thought they revolve around the themes of putting out fires and saving people. But you know, everything is a narrative, doesn't it? You know, and there's always I don't know how you get some sort of love story in amongst sort of putting out fires, but apparently they do. And this is an upgrade because for a long time, this is an eBay purchase. For a long time, yeah, for a long time I've had basically a copy without a manual, and I got that from That's Entertainment back when they were good. Now they're rubbish. Now they're Music Magpie, and their prices are often really expensive. And this popped up on eBay. I've just keeping a shady eye out on it. Eye out for it. Popped up on eBay for 50p cheaper than the amount of credit I'll get from CEX. So I thought, bargain. I'm going to nab that, and it's in really nice nick. So I'm going to trade in my other copy, and I've essentially made. I know it's in credit. Essentially made 50p. Shaman King. What's the Power of Spirit? Based on an anime or manga, I think. I have no idea about the subject matter, but I can a long time ago remember seeing this, and it's sort of like an RPG type. It's essentially it's quite a unique game, and I don't. You could even class this as a hidden gem. I really need to give it a decent go. I've had a good stab, but not extensively. But it's a tactical RPG. No, it's not. It has the tactical combat in this sense. So you have your party members, but the way it works, you arrange them, and you can fight in the same way you might fight in something like Fire Emblem. You know, these sort of. I don't think they're even cutscenes. They're just basically, you know, the two figures on the map, on the battle map, you know, will interact. But then there's another way you sort of go into like another sort of real-time battle screen where if you can have like support characters, if you can arrange them in a certain way on the battle map, on the grid, they will enter into your sort of real-time combat, and essentially sort of looks like a quite sort of basic sort of button basher, but you know, you have like sort of parries and attacks, and you know, like things like that, and dodges and all of that. I suppose in the similar to something like the Tales games, but it's all sort of orchestrated through this tactical battle map, which I think is quite unique. People don't often. I rarely hear anyone talking about this. I really should give it a decent go. It's probably really basic. The battle engine's probably really basic. I mean, from what the tutorial's really short. It's literally like a couple of. There's like one attack, or was it 2 attack buttons? But no, it's interesting. To be honest, I think most of the games, when it comes to sort of, there's no. At least I don't think it is. I've played it, honest. Most of it's conducted through menus and dialogue boxes. It's that style, but then you have the grid battle maps and things, and then the real time section if it goes into sort of the button bashy bit. But yeah, So this is all really nice nick and complete. And I'm going to trade my copy in for CX, and I'll get, like I said, 50p more in credit. Right, this is the game that I bought that film Love with. That one, because I was sort of like on a bit of a buzz. Went into CX having already bought some decent stuff, and I was sort of in that sort of mode, and I saw something that I'd had my eye on for a long time, and it was always around about £2, and it was sort of, you know, it might be a hint as to what sort of game it is, or, you know, actually I think it's a good game, but generally it's always been really cheap, but not cheap enough for me. It's a film called Endless Ocean. Games with Endless Ocean on the Wii, 75p, and everybody's played this. So I wasn't sure about this before I played it, but once I played it, oh, it's really good. You just really laid back, no jeopardy whatsoever to speak of. I don't think you're going to get savaged by any sharks or anything, or murdered by any stingrays. Rest in peace, Steve Thingy. Yeah, no, it's basically just swimming about, which sounds nice. Actually, nice change of pace. So, but yeah, and I thought, oh, 75p, because in the previous it had been like 150 or sort of £2 or even more at times. And I think some of their prices have come down quite a bit recently. I think they've had a bit of a rethink in general. A few that I've had my sort of an eye on have come down anyway. So, but 75p, I was a little bit embarrassed. So I'll put the Blu-ray with it, because, you know, that took it up to £3.15, which is more respectable. My one and only charity shop game purchase. This isn't an upgrade. It's basically, well, it might be actually. I've not checked. The case isn't. The case is a bit knacked. It's just oh, fuck it. Psychonauts on the Xbox, the box. Oh, yeah, cracking game. But like I said, it's a duplicate, a bit of a knackered box, and it's just sort of game when you see it for that is, yeah, sort of 99p. You can't really leave it behind, can you? So yeah, so I didn't. And that's the thing with Xbox games. There aren't many that are worth buying to sort of like that will get you decent credit in Computer Exchange, but this one will. This will get you £6. So, and I sort of wasn't totally sure it would, but it turns out it would. And so I thought, yeah, I actually need to check that none of the other business is an upgrade. There's a bit of you can see the sun fading on the spine. Xbox games are really bad for sun fading, I've noticed. But yeah, not a bad one to see in a charity shop. One of those games that was highly thought of on release, but never did as well as it deserved to. And so yeah, next 4 all came from this was my little decent score. All came from its cash converters type shop near me that called Cash and Check Express. I think I bought something from them last time. It was a PS3 RPG, and I reckon there must be someone locally who's into this sort of stuff, because every so often in there you'll get a Japanese game, you know, like PS3 or PSP. There's a Japanese copy of I think it's Coded Arms on the PSP that's been there for years. But yeah, I went in. It was the first place pretty much went in, and it was like one of those double take situations. Ooh, and then just pounced. And they always have it's a 4 for 3 type deal. Oh, it's fucking hell, my arse is killing me. This chair's shit. I'm sure it's giving me piles. Yeah, they have 4 for 3 type deal, and which essentially has only saved me £1 because they're all dirt cheap. But it was a bit of a double take. First one, two of them will probably be traded in. I can't lie, because they're worth it. First one is probably essentially I've paid what I would have got for it's CX. It's Harvest Moon Magical Melody for £1.50. Yeah, I know what Harvest Moon games are like, but I don't know how this one compares to all of the others in the series, because I don't know. But anyway, it was sort of I had to buy 4, and I'd got 3 dead certs. So this one was the 4th one. It was either this or Akami or Sonic. I can't remember. There's some decent ones, but I didn't want to ruin, because they're all roughly about the same price. I didn't want to ruin it by picking one that was really expensive. You know, that always happens. Always happens when you get one of these sort of 2 for 3s or whatever, 3 for 2s. You know, there's always sort of like a couple that you really want that are sort of generally quite cheap. And then you always struggle to get a third one, and particularly one that's sort of within the same price range, because generally, like, you know, it will put them out of kilter. You know what I mean? It will boost the price, because the sort of like the free one's always the cheap one. So you generally want to get ones that are all the same price. But yeah, Harvest Moon Magical Melody. I think this was the first Harvest Moon, not the game on the Wii. I think. I don't know. It's 3. I didn't realise it's 3, but apparently there is. It's 3. This is the cheapy one. I'm guessing it's the first one. I don't know why it's. This essentially, I think this is about £2.50 game TX, and I think that it'd get me £1. But the best ones, this one, I might have just sort of looked past this, but I can remember TJ Bladeless showing a copy last year sometime, and it's one of the few Japanese PS3 games that I really look at. I used to have my eye on Strider and Dungeons and Dragons, but I've since bought them on PSN, so on download. So, and this was one of the others. I've recently looked at this on eBay to see how the prices were. It's not a massively expensive game. I think generally it'll cost you about, most of them, as far as the UK goes, I think their price is essentially made up by postage. You know, sort of the actual auction price will go for about £1 or something, and the rest sort of it'll be about £10 postage from Japan. So you roughly about a tenner. But it's a game called Tokyo Jungle. I've since discovered this is on PSN for a tenner in English. So I've looked through. I'm going to get the manual out. The manual's quite funny. I've looked through some. If there's any English language options, I don't know. I've looked through some walkthroughs and LP, and it looks really good fun. The the tutorial is quite funny. Basically, it shows you how to sort of. I think it's sort of like essentially an open world. It's set in a Tokyo. Where the human race has disappeared or dead or something, and so the animals have all taken over, and it's like pets and zoo animals and literally general wildlife have just taken over, and you have to survive. I don't know how it works, if you can choose who you are to begin with, or you can change who you are, but you play as an animal, and I think there's a selection of what you can be. But I think the basic one is this horrible little ginger dog. That one. It's one of the fluffy little beady-eyed bastards that footballers' wives have in their handbags. And it goes right up from like to a rabbit, 2 types of deer, I think a deer and a springbok, a beagle, a Labrador, a cat, a pig, a hyena, a wolf, a horse, a lion. I'm guessing there's others as well. But, you know, it's got all the... It's just... I really like the idea. It's survival, I think. You have to survive. It's sort of GTA sandboxy type, but animals as a sort of, you know, it sounds nuts. And then tutorials got you as a beagle. Got you as a beagle, basically savaging a pack of hyenas, which would, as if that would ever happen. But I didn't know beagles were that tough. But according to this game, they're nails. But no, it just looks really good fun. I really hope that the language barrier isn't so much of a barrier. But it's only £1 as well, and because I was aware of it, and I literally only looked at it in the last couple of months on eBay, and I saw the spine, and I thought, oh, I wonder what that is. That's new. I took it out. Oh shit, is that game? I remember that. Yeah. And the guy behind the counter was really complimentary about my taste in games. He was obviously aware of it. It was him who said it's sort of like a GTA type sandbox game. But so yeah, that was. It was either that one or one of the others that was free. I don't know. He didn't specify. These two are the best ones. These two will be getting traded in. One of them, I'd actually no, probably will, because I think the amount of credit they'll get me is sort of pretty much outweighs my desire to keep them. Because actually one of them is a duplicate, so one of them clearly will be traded, but this one isn't. Another Harvest Moon game, Animal Parrot Parade. This is supposed to be good. This is supposed to be better than the other one. I don't know how Harvest Moon games really differ that much. But befriend wild and exotic animals, including raccoons, pandas, and even penguins. Wild penguins. Take your animals for walks, like the penguins and the pandas. Teach them tricks, even ride them in races. I'd like to ride a penguin in a race. Grow crops, expand your farm, raise livestock, and build a family. That's pretty much a Harvest Moon in general. But actually, no, to be honest, I think I'm going to give this a go before I trade it in. Wow. Apparently, you can have 4 players. You have 4 players now as well. And you can use the classic controller, which might be a bonus. Maybe that's why it's more expensive. But that was £2. This will get me about 14 quid in CEX, which is very tempting. I didn't know at the time, but you know, I had to make up the 4. But yeah. And finally, this one was the one I did know about. This one took me. This is a duplicate. I've got a copy of this. And it took me donkey's years to get. It never used to pop up on eBay, or the only ones that they were like German versions. Never used to pop up in CX. Really uncommon. It's a sequel, and it's so much more uncommon than I don't know what I was going to say then. Way uncommon. Excuse me. So much more uncommon than the first game. It's Sam & Max Beyond Time and Space. So for £1, that's a bargain. It's not actually too expensive on eBay. This will cost you about 20 quid if you can find an English copy. But it's just, like I said, sort of when I was looking for it just took me years for one to pop up. And if I'd thought I was going to see one in the wild, I wouldn't have bothered. But you never know. You never know when you're going to see these things, do you? That's pretty much how it works. You pay the eBay prices and you keep looking. That's what I do. Pay the eBay prices, or at least sort of try and get a decent bargain on eBay, and keep looking. And if you see another one, buy it, like another one bargain wise, and buy it, and either trade it in or sell it on, and then you essentially make your money back on the first one. So that's how it works. But yeah, it's just really uncommon Wii game. This is the first one is all over the place. First one's about a £2 game. But this will, like I said, this will probably get traded in because I'm not sure I can be asked. I think trading wise is about 13 quid. On eBay, I'd get about 20. And you factor in all the stuff, I'm probably going to get about 3 quid's worth or more on eBay. And I just can't be asked with the hassle. And you don't have the hassle, do you? If you're trading it in. But so yeah, I need to check if there's any stuff in this which is better than mine, so I can have a really nice Brand Harry Spankers copy. So yeah, right. That was generally all my stuff that was done in the wild, so to speak. This little pile here, I was all bought using CEX credit. There's a bit of a balls up in the mix. It's going back last month. I had enough. This is post my getting Mega Man Legends, and it had been a bit knackered, and I'd sort of had enough. My impatience got the better of me, and I just wanted to go out and spend it. And I'd wanted to go and use my credit, but I wanted to sort of look over stuff beforehand. You know, I'm not going to. So you go and see it in person, so to speak. And so I sort of set like a little itinerary. I was going to go on a day out, so I set an itinerary. Because I'm going to go to a load of local branches and, you know, the ones that had stuff in that I wanted to get. And I even wrote out a list, and with sort of a top list of 6 items that I could have used all my credit on. And, you know, I would not. That was in an ideal situation because it wasn't necessarily going to work out like that because, you know, they might not be up to scratch. And I've come away with 3 items, 3 of the 6. Yeah. So as you can see, 3 of them weren't up to scratch or even present. Because one of them just wasn't even there. It's on the website for some reason. Yeah, Armored Core on the PS1. I went to visit it in Rathbone Place. Visit it as if it's in hospital. I went to see it in Rathbone Place, and it wasn't on the shelf. I asked the guy, and he said something about it. Oh yeah, we can't sell that because it hasn't got a front cover, but it's for sale on the website. Confused, but anyway. So that one was a no-go. There's a copy of Riven that was a no-go. So that was, and I can't remember what that one was. But this first one was in a new branch in Holloway. It's Dragon Quest VII, I think. The only other way to play this game is on the PS1, but that wasn't available in the UK. I think it was only US and Japan, I think. And so when they released this, it became a bit of a no-brainer. I think it's the same game, I don't know. So yeah, and this is really nice. And it doesn't have a manual. I don't think it's released with a manual. It was one of those ones that, you know, was come after the time when they felt obliged to have manuals. This one doesn't. So yeah, bit of a no-brainer to get this, and this was the first one I saw. I thought, yeah, brilliant, 18 quid. Right, next one I went to was an even newer branch in Islington. It's in Chapel Market. I've not been down there for ages. Turns out that N1 Games is still there. It's a game shop that's been there for donkey's years. I've got a copy of Manakemia from there on the PS2, like a special edition copy. And I've not been down there for years. I just assumed it would have closed down, but no, this is in Islington. The costs of running a business there must be fucking sky high. But no, it's still there. But didn't get anything there. But I went to their CX close by, and nice bunch in there actually, sort of chatty. And this was the second one on my list. It was brilliant. So I'm like 2 for 2. Trails of Cold Steel, Legend of Herpes. Legend of Herpes. No, it's Legend of Heroes, but if you're ever searching for Legend of Heroes, be careful because it's very easy to type in Legend of Herpes. It's literally one key to the right. So Legends of Herpes, Trails of Cold Steel. So many RPGs on this PS3. My list is essentially just, it seems like it's a list of identikit RPGs, and I'm not going to ever get them all because they all tend to blend into each other. And so this is one of the few that sort of stands out. It's supposed to be decent, I think. It's got a sequel, so it's good enough to get a sequel. And it's set in a school, so it feels like it's Persona. Although I think it's, you know, probably riding on the back of Persona's success by being set in a school and they're all wearing school uniforms. But it's supposed to be good, so another 18 quid. I think I had about, I forgot how much I had. I think about 85 quid in credit, and I was planning to spend it all. So I nabbed this. This same branch was the one that had Riven, and I asked if I could ask to see Riven, and the guy went to get it, and it came back, and it was a little bit rough, and he was understanding because he knew what collectors were really after. And this was the other one that he brought out at the same time, and it's Karushi. Oh, brilliant. This is only 12 quid. The case is a bit rough, cracks, I think they don't know hinges, but generally it's in decent nick. So we were talking about Riven and generally like their business because they were a new shop. Apparently their first day was the day of the World Cup final, or he mentioned something like that, so they didn't get anyone through the door. That was brilliant. No. But yeah, Karushi. I've got Karushi Final, but I wanted to get this one as well. And sort of 12 quid was a good price. So yeah, I'll go and have a look at that in Islington. And I was sort of half looking at Riven when I said I'd add this. And I redirected Riven, and then we were like talking, and yeah, I thought I'll have that as well as this together, two together. Brilliant. So yeah, got it. Went on my way. We had a bit of a chat about their business. It was all nice and all nice and friendly. Went on my way, and yeah, went off to go and look at the other stuff I wanted to look at. So halfway, sort of about an hour later, I was sat in a station, just on a platform waiting for my train. And I'll have a look through this, and I'll have a look through. It all looks nice and dandy. Put it back. Sort of an hour later, I was in Mornington Crescent, I think, in Camden. I think. Oh, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I can't remember where I was. No, Goode Street. Nowhere near Mornington Crescent. Goode Street. Really quiet station. So I thought I had a better opportunity to look through my stuff. So brilliant. I have a better look. There's less people about. A little bit of a wait for the train. They haven't given me an opportunity to have a proper look over my stuff. So let's look through this, nice and dandy. Look through this. I thought, hang on, something's not quite right. Lo and behold, there's no manual. Oh, what the fuck has gone on here? Oh, how is there no manual? It's one of two things. There was never a manual to begin with, and I was sort of distracted in the sort of the banter that was going on, with the two blokes who worked there, and with the chat about their shop and stuff, and we were talking about this because talking about how it's meant to measure your IQ. Well, clearly, I'm not going to do very well because if this whole thing is anything to go by. But yeah, maybe I was distracted and just assumed that I'd seen a manual. I don't know. I'm convinced there was one. Well, either that, or when I looked over it the first time and just gave it a quick shifty, somehow it dropped out. It's not in my bag. I looked through my bag, and there aren't that many places for it to hide in my bag. Maybe I'd left it on that platform. Maybe I'd taken it out and put it on the bench next to me. I don't think I did, but now I'm stuck looking. Either way, it was my fault, which makes it worse. If it's someone else's fault, at least I've got someone to blame to diffuse the frustrations. But maybe that's a good thing, because I imagine there's lots of wars that started that way, and when you've got someone to blame, so many of the world's ills are caused by people blaming other people for things that aren't their fault. I won't go into detail, but you could put two and two together. But I'm not fucking knackered. I had to run today. I keep looking at myself going, Jesus, you look bushed. Maybe I'll do that a lot. Hang on. Maybe I need another drink. But anyway, I ain't got a manual. I would love to have someone to blame, but it's totally my fault, which makes it more frustrating. So yeah, I'm on the lookout for a manual, which I can't see anyone popping up anytime soon. If the only alternative is to keep an eye out for another copy locally. And to top it off, 2 days after I bought this for 12 quid, they put the price down to a tenner. Fuck off. They do that a lot. So like I said, at least the prices come down. Yes, that's brilliant. But it means if I wanted to trade this one in, if I found a better copy, I'll get... it's essentially depreciated. It's negative equity. I'll get less because the prices come down, so the trading values come down as well. But good game though. Just a bit of a nightmare. The game's a bit of a nightmare. That's what the guy in the shop said. It's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? Really sort of terrifying. Like you're going to get sort of Tetris clacks of, along those lines. But you're a little man. You have to activate the squares. Squares on the grid that you're running around, and then these rolling blocks sort of roll down towards you, and you have to find a path through the blocks, otherwise you get squashed. And you have to activate the blocks as the cubes sort of land on top of them. Activate the squares. You look up some gameplay video; it will make more sense. But yeah, right, there you go, Karushi. So that a bit of a fuck up, but I thought I'd leave that to the end. That's a bit of a story, but there you go. all 50 minutes, double the length of my previous attempts at making this video. But back into the old school ways of doing things. But I didn't know I was going to get that big batch of stuff. You know, I'm not going to leave it out of a pickups video. I knew I wanted to redo it. Get off my back. I've not had any lunch yet. It's shit. It's nearly 4:30. Bollocks. Right then, cheers. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.